Hey kiddos, today we're going to do Unit 6, Lesson 3, and I'm going to break this up into two shorter videos for you. The first video is completely and utterly about just how to use the quadratic formula to solve for quadratic roots. The second video is going to be about, now that we know all of the methods, how do we choose which one most effectively? So for today's lesson, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is how you can possibly start to remember this crazy formula. If you notice, b squared minus 4ac from our previous lessons, that is the formula for the discriminants. And that will tell you how many and what types of solutions you will have. But it is actually a part of a larger formula that not only this small part tells you how many and what types of roots, the whole formula altogether tells you what your roots are. Okay, now what is the benefit of learning yet another method? The other methods are kind of shortcuts to help you get to your solutions a little faster. This method is what we will have to use for anything that is not factorable, is not able to be turned into a perfect square, or is not already set up to solve by square roots, okay? Also, if we have imaginary solutions, this is the only method that will help us to get to those imaginary solutions, all right? So a lot of years ago, when my first son was 2, I taught him the letters song. That is not the alphabet. My son has always called the quadratic formula the letters song. And so he is going to sing it for you really quickly. I found a version online, and so he's going to sing it with you. It's to the tune Pop Goes the Weasel. He'll do it with the video and again without the video, okay? So enjoy that video, and then once you come back, we're going to go ahead and jump into our examples.
X equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
The quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
Let's jump right in with example 1. So in order to solve a quadratic formula using the formula, or to solve a quadratic using this formula, we need to make sure that it is in standard form and set equal to 0. So let's do that for our example 1. I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides so that it now equals 0. And I have 2x squared plus 7x minus 9. My second step is to identify A, B, and C. And I have to be able to do this. Okay, so the value of A is 2. The value of B is 7. The value of C is negative 9. Once I know the values of all my letters, I am ready to plug them into the formula. Okay, so here we go. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a, which is 2, times c, all over 2a. So let's start to simplify this step by step, okay? So I'm going to get negative 7. Oh, and again, sorry, a is 2. So negative 7 plus or minus 7 squared is 49. 4 times 2 is 8. And 8 times 9 is 72. And then negative and negative is positive. So we're going to add those. And that's going to be all divided by 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay? All right. Now let's simplify this a little bit more. X equals negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 121. I just added 49 and 72 together, and that's divided by 4. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and simplify this square root right here. So x equals -7 plus or minus the square root of 121 is 11 divided by 4. And now here's where I'm going to get my two separate solutions. -7 minus 11, -7 plus 11. And again, we're going to divide those final answers by 4. And so I will end up with, let's see, -7 minus 11 is -18 divided by 4, which will give me -9/4. -7 plus 11 is going to give me 4/4, which is just 1. And these are my two solutions, -9/4 and 1. Okay. Whew, that is a lot of work, guys. It is a lot of simplifying. Okay. But these are my two solutions. Let's look at example 2. Okay, so it's already set equal to 0. My A value is 3. My B value, I do not have an X term, so it is 0, okay? No BX term equals 0. That's what I fill in. And then my C value is -12. So I'm going to start to use this space up here this time. X equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, okay, all over 2 times a. And now I'm ready to go ahead and start to simplify. So -0 is just 0, plus or minus 0 squared is 0. Okay, -4 times 3 is -12. -12 times -12 is positive 144. Divided by 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, so now x equals plus or minus 12 divided by 6. So 12 divided by 6, -12 divided by 6 is positive 2, -2. And those are my two solutions. Okay, let's look at example 3. Example 3. In this case, my A value is a -1, B is -2, C is +7. All right, let's plug everything in. X equals -b. Notice I'm using parentheses whenever I have a negative number, okay? Plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all over 2a. All right, now let's simplify this. And we're just going to keep going step by step till we're all done. -2 is a +2. -2 squared is a 4. -4 times -1 is 5, and 5 times 7 is 35. Over 2 times -1, so -2. And then this is going to equal 2 plus or minus the square root of 39, all over -2. Okay. Did I do something wrong? Oh, I'm sorry. -4 times -1 is a +4. 4 times 7 is 28. So that's a 28. And 28 plus 4 is 32. Sorry about that. Okay, and now we're ready to simplify this. So I'm going to do some scratch work right here. 32 is the same as 4 times 8, which is the same as 4 times 2. So when I simplify the square root of 32, I'm going to get 4 square roots of 2. So 2 plus or minus 4 square roots of 2, all divided by negative 2. Okay, and now let's simplify some more. 2 divided by negative 2 is a negative 1, plus or minus 4 divided by negative 2 is 2 square roots of 2. And you can leave your answer just like that. Negative 1 plus or minus 2 square roots of 2. Now, why didn't I put the negative in front of the 2? Well, because I have a plus and a minus, so it kind of accounts for the negative either way. Okay, so that's my solution for number 3, as simplified as I can get. Now, you could type in your calculator negative 1 plus 2 square roots of 2 and get a decimal. And then again, negative 1 minus square roots, 2 square roots of 2, and get a decimal. But I'm just going to leave it in our irrational form. Okay, last example, very last example. Let's put this into standard form. 2x squared minus 8x plus 3 equals 0. So my A is 2, my B is negative 8, and my C is 3. Now I'm ready to plug everything in. X equals negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. And now let's go ahead and simplify. X equals negative 8 is a positive 8 plus or minus the square root. 8 and 8 is 64. 8 times 3 is 24. So minus 24. All that divided by 4. Okay, 64 minus 24 is going to give me 8 plus or minus 44 over 4. And here's what I'm going to do to simplify this as far as I can. This is like a 1. So x equals 8 divided by 4 is 2, plus or minus the square root of 44 divided by 4. And that is my answer. Okay, you also could maybe sometimes leave it like this, or another way that you might see it written is 2 plus or minus 1/4 square roots of 44. Okay. All right, kiddos, that is the first half of our lesson for today, and it is 100% focused on the quadratic formula.